In solving one-step equations using addition, if we have the equation x plus 5 equals 10, I've set up some algebra tiles to kind of help you understand what it's really asking you to do. So when we're looking at an equation, what we're saying is we want this side of the equation to be equal or the same as this side of the equation. So when I look at this, I notice that I've started with my 5 algebra tiles of ones that matches the plus 5. The x means that there's a number here. I don't know what it is yet. And if I look at the other side of my equation, I do have my 10 here. But when I'm trying to solve, what I really want to think about is what's the same and what's different. So if I separate my 10, I can kind of see a little bit better that I have the 5 here and I have the 5 here. To help me simplify a little bit better, since they already match, I'm going to remove them from my mat because if they're the same on both sides, I don't really need to look at them anymore. In other words, I can subtract 5 from both sides and I'm left with just the 5 that are there and the x, which basically means that the 5 is what I would need to replace. And I can actually check it. So if I were to take the 5 and add it to 5, 5 plus 5 is equal to 10. So what happens when we have an equation that does not have addition? Let's say we have an equation that says minus 5. Now keep in mind, I'm going to go ahead and put these algebra tiles back. So now I've got 10 on this side and that matches my equation. And I do have 5, but they're actually negative. So I'm going to change them all to negatives. Now, I want these to look the same, right? I want this side to be exactly the same as this side. So my question is, what would I need to put on this side to make it equal to 10? If I think about my number line, and I'm going to bring up my number line. Number line. And make this a little bit bigger. Oh, I'm going to go by, I'll go by ones. Just make this bigger. Okay. So what I'm really looking at is I start at negative 5. That's what this says. This says start at negative 5. But I want to end up at a positive 10. So I'm going to start at negative 5. I have to keep going until I get to a positive 10. Right? So how much is that? Well, in order for this to be a positive 10, of course I need my 10. So I'm going to take my 10. But remember that if I line these up, this gives me 0. So I only have 5. What else would I need to add to that? I actually need to add another 5. So if I took 5, 10, 15 minus 5, that's actually going to give me this 10. And so my x is equal to whatever I added. And I added the 15. That's one way to look at it. Another way is to use inverse operations. So I'm going to put this 15 out to the side for a second. If I use inverse operations, says that whatever this says on my side that has the x, I do the opposite of that. So it says to do a minus 5, I'm going to do the opposite. Instead of do minus 5, I'm going to do plus 5. And you'll notice that I still get the 15.